Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a horror comedy from Ireland, English language, released in the year 2019, directed by Mike Ahern and Enda Loughman, and this film is called Extraordinary. So Extraordinary is set in Ireland. You've got this woman who is a driving instructor and she has a very traumatic past. Now she actually possesses a very special ability, and that ability is to communicate with the paranormal world. So when she was young, she had a father who was an expert in this field. He had a TV show and a lot of people respected him and actually believed that he could influence the outside world. So anyone who had unfinished business with a lost loved one could actually contact this man and he would actually go about his ways. But then unfortunately, this woman, when she was young, there was something that happened where her use of the paranormal ability that she had resulted in the death of her father. And so ever since that day, she has sworn off the paranormal usage, and now she is this timid woman who works as this driving instructor. But then one day, her life is about to change when a man comes up to her, says that he wants a driving lesson, but in reality, he needs her help with her paranormal abilities because his teenage daughter has been consumed by an evil entity. And if he doesn't act quickly, that evil entity is going to take her away from him forever. So he's going to try and convince this woman to get over her lack of confidence and actually try and get back into the world that she was once known for. And along the way, an opportunity at happiness is going to present itself that she has to take before it's too late. So whether or not she can change this man's life and her life at the same time is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Extraordinary. I didn't really know what to expect with this movie. This is an Irish horror comedy, and that's the reason why I really wanted to see it. When Irish horror comedies come about, they are usually a home run. They usually really deliver as far as making you laugh and actually freaking you out to some degree. So that's the expectations I had with this film. Because it was a blind experience, I didn't have massive expectations, but I was hoping that it would at least be worth the time and effort. And after watching this film, I will say that it does possess one problem, and that one problem is with the horror aspect. Now, I've said time and time again, I'm like a worn-out record. When it comes to horror comedies, you have to have a fine blend of horror and a fine blend of comedy. And if one genre outweighs the other, you usually get a very uneven experience. But I will say that I can make an exception with this film, is because this movie does have the horror aspect of paranormal and evil entities, but where this movie excels is in its comedy. It is a very, very funny film, but at the same time, it's an incredibly endearing film. And if you are a person who lacks confidence, lacks confidence in your ability, then this movie is just so uplifting, is because this main character, she is this woman who has been hurt in her past. She has been completely smashed as far as her confidence is concerned, and so she's leaving her abilities behind. And how many times do you hear about this in the real world? Is that whether it's a sporting event where something happens and you lose a game and then you just lose confidence and you don't want to do that anymore. And so it's so easy to give up. It's so easy to say, okay, I'm not doing that anymore because of the hurt that I had suffered in the past. And that's exactly what happens with this main character, is that she deems herself responsible for her father's death, so she's never going to go near her ability. She's never going to go near what she knows in her life. And that's something that everyone can really relate to. Unless you've gone through life without making any mistakes that have affected your confidence, then you're not going to get anything out of this movie. But for me, being someone who doesn't have a lot of confidence and in my abilities, and as soon as something goes wrong, I tend to try and hide from it, this is a movie that I could really relate to, and I really love the message that Extraordinary had. I thought it was an incredibly heartwarming film and just incredibly uplifting. It's a movie that will make you feel really, really good. And that is the reason why I could excuse the fact that it wasn't so scary. But the comedy, as I said, it is incredibly funny. The script is very, very witty. I really like, there's a character in this film of a rock star. I'm not going to give too much away because the less you know about this film, the better. But the rock star was phenomenal as far as comedy was concerned. He was, his lines, the way he looked, the way he acted, I thought was incredibly funny. It made me laugh out loud on more than one occasion. So it's definitely one of the funnier films that you will see in a very long time. But if you go into it expecting a genuine scary movie, then this is where the film sort of lacks itself. It's a very silly film, and the silliness kind of overrides the fact that it's a horror movie. So you don't really get scared, but as I said, it's so funny and it's so heartwarming and endearing that I could really, forgive the fact that it wasn't, all that strong as far as a horror element is concerned. So there are horror elements, but it really doesn't play on that. What it wants to do is make a really funny film, a really entertaining movie, but at the same time, a really uplifting film. And I just thought the movie had a very strong purpose, and that strong purpose was just in positivity. And just the fact that, so many people out there have confidence issues, but if you can actually try and stand up to those fears, then what you are capable of is basically limitless. And so that's what I really got from this main character. The acting was fantastic. Each and every one of these characters felt comfortable in a comedic role. There are some, as I said, at the end, there are some spooky moments, but it's alleviated because of the fact it's so silly. But I thought as though the comedic element and the fact that it's interweaving with a really, really important message, I really like this movie, and I definitely think a lot of people should watch it. As I said, if you are a person who lacks in confidence, then this is a film that just makes you feel very uplifted. The comedic element, you've got the soundtrack that is just really warm, and so it's a very, very pleasant film. And there are some nasty moments, but the underneath the underlying sort of heart that the film has, I thought was incredibly uplifting, incredibly positive, and I thought as though it was just a very, very pleasant experience. And so it's an experience that I'm highly recommending. As I said, if I have an issue, it does get a little bit silly at the end. I thought, okay, well, it could have done without that certain moment. But apart from that, that was a very minuscule problem in a film that I ended up liking a lot more than I expected. It is a film that will make you feel good, and especially in these times, these are the sort of films that we really need. So if it sounds like your kind of thing, definitely go out there and see Extraordinary. Basically, the message is that it's okay to be extraordinary. It's not extraordinary that you have to really strive out for. So overall, for this film, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.